Here are 100 true, random, and fascinating facts about mushrooms. Mind-blowing biology: mushrooms are genetically closer to humans than they are to plants. Like humans, mushrooms breathe in oxygen and release carbon dioxide. Mushrooms contain chitin in their cell walls, the same material found in lobster shells and insect exoskeletons. A mushroom is actually just the fruiting body. The main organism is the underground web called mycelium. This underground web, mycelium, can live for decades or even centuries, while the mushroom you see might only live for a few days. The largest living organism on Earth is a honey mushroom, Armillaria ostoyi, in Oregon. This single humongous fungus covers over 2,385 acres, roughly 4 square miles. It is estimated to be at least 2,400 years old, but could be up to 8,650 years old. Some mushrooms can create their own wind to help disperse their spores. Mushrooms can stay dormant underground for years until the weather is perfect. A single mushroom can release millions of spores in just a few hours. Spores are so tiny and light that they can travel thousands of miles in the atmosphere. Some fungi can actually hunt prey, trapping microscopic worms, nematodes, in their mycelium loops. There are over 100,000 identified species of fungi, but scientists believe there are millions more. Fungi split from animals on the evolutionary tree about 1.5 billion years ago. Before trees existed, giant mushrooms called prototaxites towered 24 feet tall over the earth. Some mushrooms can generate enough force to break through asphalt and concrete. Mushrooms are comprised of about 90% water. There is a fungus that splits its spores at a speed of 25,000 times the force of gravity, the fastest flight in nature. Slime molds, often grouped with fungi, can solve mazes to find food. Weird and wacky abilities. Some mushrooms glow in the dark, bioluminescence, to attract insects. There are about 80 known species of glowing mushrooms. The jack-o'-lantern mushroom glows orange/green in the dark but is poisonous. Lightning strikes can actually make mushrooms grow faster and double their yield. Certain fungi can digest plastic in as little as 140 days. A fungus found in Chernobyl grows towards radiation and uses it as energy, radiotrophic fungi. The cordyceps fungus turns ants into zombies, forcing them to climb high before killing them to spread spores. This zombie ant fungus was the inspiration for the video game and show The Last of Us. Leaf-cutter ants don't eat leaves, they farm a specific fungus on the leaves and eat the fungus. Some mushrooms bleed a bright red liquid when cut, for example, the bleeding tooth fungus. The shaggy ink cap mushroom will self-destruct into a puddle of black ink if you don't cook it fast enough. You can use that black ink to write letters, and people historically did. There is a mushroom that smells exactly like rotting meat, stinkhorn, to attract flies. Another mushroom smells like maple syrup, candy cap. Some mushrooms can withstand the cold vacuum of space. Fungi are the only organisms that can break down the tough lignin in wood, which prevents dead trees from piling up forever. Without fungi, the world would be buried in miles of dead plant matter. Oyster mushrooms are carnivorous, they eat bacteria and tiny nematodes. The devil's fingers mushroom looks like a red hand clawing out of the ground hatching from an egg. Fairy rings, circles of mushrooms, grow because the underground mycelium expands outward in a perfect circle seeking food. The wood wide web trees talk to each other using mushroom networks underground. This network allows trees to share nutrients and warn neighbors of pests. A dying mother tree can dump its carbon into the network to save its seedlings before it dies. Some orchids cannot grow without a specific fungus partner to feed them. 90% of all land plants rely on fungi at their roots to survive. The network can span entire forests. Some trees hijack the network to steal nutrients from other trees. In 1 teaspoon of healthy soil, there can be up to 8 miles of fungal filaments. This network is often called the Earth's natural internet. Fungi were likely the first organisms to colonize land, paving the way for plants. History and culture: ancient Egyptians believed mushrooms were the plant of immortality and only pharaohs were allowed to eat them. Usi the Iceman, a 5,300-year-old mummy, was found carrying 2 types of mushrooms. One was for starting fires, and the other was likely for medicine, to fight parasites. The Vikings supposedly used the fly agaric mushroom to go into their berserker rages. The red and white Amanita muscaria mushroom is linked to the origin of Santa Claus legends. Reindeer love to eat these hallucinogenic mushrooms and prance around. In some cultures, people drank the urine of reindeer who ate the mushrooms to get the effects without the toxins. The concept of flying reindeer may come from these mushroom-induced hallucinations. Romans called mushrooms food of the gods. In the Middle Ages, fairy rings were thought to be portals to the fairy realm. If you stepped in a fairy ring, legend said you might be trapped there forever. Truffles, a type of underground mushroom, are one of the most expensive foods in the world. Pigs were traditionally used to hunt truffles because the scent mimics pig pheromones. Now dogs are preferred because they don't try to eat the truffles as much as pigs do. The Caesar's mushroom was a favorite of Roman emperors. Mushrooms have been used to dye wool for centuries, creating natural rainbows of color. Amadou mushrooms were used to make felt hats and even artificial leather. Chinese medicine has used reishi mushrooms for over 2,000 years. During World War II, penicillin, from a fungus, saved millions of lives. Mushrooms were once thought to be created by lightning strikes hitting the ground. Edible versus deadly. The death cap, Amanita phalloides, causes the majority of fatal mushroom poisonings worldwide. It tastes surprisingly good, which is why people keep eating it by accident. Symptoms of death cap poisoning can be delayed for 12 hours, by which time your liver is destroyed. White button, cremini, and portobello mushrooms are all the exact same species, Agaricus bisporus, at different ages. White buttons are the babies, portobellos are the adults. Mushrooms are the only item in the produce aisle that produces vitamin D. You can increase the vitamin D in your mushrooms by leaving them in the sun for 15 minutes before cooking. Mushrooms have a fifth taste called umami, savory. Corn smut, a fungus that ruins corn, is a delicacy in Mexico called wheat lacache. It costs more than the corn itself and is known as Mexican truffle. Cooking mushrooms breaks down their tough cell walls, releasing more nutrients than eating them raw. Vitiporus is a mushroom that tastes exactly like chicken of the woods. There are over 2,000 species of edible mushrooms. Only about 30 species are grown commercially. China produces 70% of the world's mushrooms. Pennsylvania produces over 60% of all mushrooms in the USA. Mushrooms are a source of potassium, containing more than a banana. False morels contain rocket fuel ingredients, monomethylhydrazine, but some people boil them to eat them anyway. Risky. You cannot identify a poisonous mushroom just by boiling it with a silver spoon. That's a myth. Touching a poisonous mushroom cannot kill you. You have to ingest it. The future of fungi mushroom mycelium is being used to make bricks for construction that are stronger than concrete. Companies are making leather from mushrooms to replace cow leather. Mycelium is used as eco-friendly packaging, like styrofoam, that composts in 45 days. Fungi can be used to clean up oil spills, mycoremediation. Some fungi can break down nerve gas. Scientists are studying magic mushrooms, psilocybin, to treat depression and PTSD. Yeast, a fungus, is responsible for bread, beer, and wine. Without fungi, we wouldn't have chocolate. Cacao beans must be fermented by fungi. Fungi can create rain by releasing massive amounts of moisture and spores into the air. We have explored less than 5% of the fungi kingdom. The cure for major diseases could be hiding in a mushroom right now.